Okay, let's freaking go. Let's talk about it. So I've seen the Lions have some signings. I'm gonna run through my reactions of them, do a little research because I ain't heard now other than Greg Dortch. I love Greg Dortch, by the way. Um, Good slot receiver, man. Greg Dortch is dope. You know what I'm saying? So that's my probably my favorite signing this offseason. I don't know none of these ninjas. Roster analyst DJ Wonnum brings starting experience, flexibility in the Lions front. And to be honest, man, this is where the Lions start upticking at. They like going through the trash, but this is something I wanted to talk about, but I lost the screenshot of it. They say only 5% of free agents make the Pro Bowl. I don't know if that's the following year, but they say only 5% of free agents only make the Pro Bowl. So that's something to generally think about. So you think Brad and them and his deep analytics don't know that? So that's why you buy low and you hope, um you buy low and then you hope that you know they explode because realistically, if that statistic is true, then why buy high and it's only a 5% chance because you buying used and damaged goods. Okay, so that's like going to a place to buy something. Even if I spend $100 on this sweater, but all they do is do cheap stuff. As soon as I wash it, or as soon as I yawn and stretch, it's gonna rip. So I understand the philosophy a little bit more. You tend to understand his philosophy. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I get it. So I definitely understand where, if that statistic is true, I definitely understand where he coming from. So, but it's just like we tired. You go from possibly last offseason to getting a guy like Miles Garrett, and I've done some research on him already. To talk about Max Crosby, which he's talking shit about the Baltimore Ravens, by the way. 9 days into 2026 free agency period, the Detroit Lions finally signed an edge rusher as they came to an agreement with DJ Wonnum on a 1-year contract reportedly valued at $6 million. So people saying they could have just taken Al Qayyad Muhammad. He said, let's take a closer look at the Lions' new defensive end and why he's more likely to be a replacement for Davenport and Al Qayyad Muhammad. One of them found the field in South Carolina as a true freshman, playing all 13 games. A sophomore named a starter team captain who would hold both roles in the next 3 seasons. One of them never put up a gaudy stats at South Carolina, but his size and length and athletic profile helped him get drafted in the 4th round, 117 overall by the Vikings. One of them worked his way into the Vikings edge rotation as a rookie and found starting role in the second year as a down defensive end. The Vikings switched from a 3-4 scheme the third year. One of them reverted back to a reserve role, only to gain a starting role when the Vikings hired Brian Flores as their new defensive coordinator. And in total, one will go on to start 31 games for the Vikings for over 4 seasons. In 2024, one of them departed for Carolina Panthers, gave him a 2-year contract, despite him recovering from a quadricep sustained on Christmas Eve of 2023. When the Lions beat the Vikings in the NFC North title, unfortunately, one of them road to recovery was okay. I don't care about none of that. So apparently, there's another dude that tore his quad. DJ Reader tore his quad. One of them walked reporters through the offseason. Okay, I don't care. So honestly, bro, when you look at this guy, man, this gives more reserve vibes. But if the Brad Holmes don't value that. This is to me kind of a double-edged sword. He doesn't value the defensive end position. What's so funny? For years, throughout different regimes, they valued the what you call it, the defensive line throughout the years, whether it was Sean Rogers, Sue, Kyle Vanden Bosch. We can just keep going on and on. Nick Fairley drafting him high, finding guys mid to late draft like Cliff Averill, and Willie Young. They used to put a lot of stock, in the defensive backfield, but now they're trying to look up his stat. It ain't nothing gaudy, but that would rather deal with drafting corners. He had 3 sacks, 4 sacks, 8 sacks, 4, 8. He had a lot of success with the Vikings. So if this is what they gonna do, bro, like, okay, all right. But then they signed our good brother Greg Dortch. I love Greg Dortch. Hellified, good slot receiver. He has some good games. It'd be interesting to see if he can, get in there and can he? I would believe that he would come in and take Khalif role, but I also believe that Isaac Tesla, if healthy, would take Khalif snaps at receiver. You know what I'm saying? I would assume that he would take Khalif snaps at receiver, but you know how the Lions do. They draft a guy, move up for a guy like that, and you won't see him play. But Dortch is actually a really good receiver. To be honest, really good slot receiver, speedy guy. He does what St. Brown do, but but I just think with a timing quarterback with Jared Goff, I think they might have a lot of success if he gets some receiver snaps. He's very quarterback friendly. I think Kyler is a reserved taste. I think Kyler Murray is the type of guy that I think he a reserved taste. That's the best way I could say it. I think a guy like Greg Dortch, I think a guy like Kyler Murray would do good with guys like Plexico Burress. I think he would do good with guys like Calvin John. I think those are the type of receivers he would thrive with, in my opinion. But I love the Greg Dortch signing. He's going to also be returning kicks, for the Lions. So this is a good signing. Detroit's decision to sign receiver Greg Dortch may not be flashy or steal headline, but it represents a smart, calculated move to fish the roster. When evaluating addition, it's clear general manager Brad Holmes prioritized Dortch's, versatility, special teams value, and he's a solid receiver. You know what I'm saying? He's a solid receiver. So he returned kicks, he's solid at kick return, and he can have one of those explosive games. So I feel like that was a good move for them. I think they also got a linebacker from Houston. I didn't really know much about him. So they got a linebacker from Houston too. Damone Clark. So I don't know much about him, but they was a really good defense over there. It's more of a depth guy. 5th round pick of the Coon Boys, Dallas Coon Boys. So yeah, this be interesting. I think they're gonna draft somebody. Hopefully they draft somebody defensive end. But hey, thumbs up the video early in the draft. Thumbs up the video, share, video, subscribe to the channel, check out the Trey Lines Top playlist for more videos like this. Appreciate the love and support. Peace.